When it comes to a successful sales funnel, half of the battle is won if you have a kick-ass offer that your audience can't live without, and an audience of great fit buyers. And with the right copy, you can easily help double or even triple your sales. It's no good having an incredible offer if you can't successfully communicate the value of that offer to the right people. In today's video, I'm going to share 5 unconventional copywriting tips that'll help you increase sales in your funnel. Hi, I'm Nikki Trailer, and I help coaches, course creators, and digital product owners make more money from their products and programs by selling more and retaining more customers. Stay tuned to swipe my conversion copywriting tips that'll help you turn more browsers into buyers. The first thing you need to consider if you want to make more sales using your copy is message matching. Now, this is where you need to look at your funnel as a whole journey rather than looking at each asset individually, like your emails, your sales page, or your lead magnet, for example. Essentially, you need to think about the messaging you use to send someone from here to here at each point of your funnel so that it's clear you're talking about the same thing. When someone has to take a step like clicking a link, it can be easy to confuse them. At this point, if they don't see exactly what they're expecting on the next step, a confused audience does not buy. I want you to think about your funnel as a whole. So at the top, you have whatever you do in terms of marketing. That's the first thing people see. This is the thing that attracts people into your world. Typically, this is things like ads or content marketing. But whatever it is that people interact with first, that's what I want you to be thinking about here. And the next step from here would probably be to get people onto your email list via an opt-in page to draw them into the middle of the funnel. The messaging in those ads or content marketing or whatever it is you're using to attract new people to your world needs to line up with what's on that opt-in page that you use to get people on your email list. It needs to be clear that it's for the same audience, offering exactly what was promised before they click through to that page. The goal is not to make your reader think too hard, because that is a conversion killer. If the messaging doesn't match, you'll likely see a lot of people exit the page without taking action or without even scrolling to find out what's happened. If you serve different audiences with the same offer or opt-in, then it could be a good idea to use different landing pages to speak to each of these individual audiences, with different language relating to your offers and info that's only relevant to that audience. Things like pain points, dream states, and anything else you're using to speak to them. If you do this throughout your whole funnel, from your emails to your sales page, from your sales page to your checkout page, or your opt-in page to your lead magnet, you'll make saying yes the obvious choice for your target audience. Ignore this at your peril. The next thing you need in your copy to make it convert better is specificity. This might sound pretty vague, but making your copy specific by using references, brand names, numbers, and all kinds of other details can increase your conversions massively. Headlines with numbers in are 36% more likely to generate clicks. And then think about the fact that 80% of readers only scan the headline, and you see how important it is for your headline in particular to grab attention and encourage people to keep reading. Using the power of specificity is a great way to do this for your headline, but also throughout the rest of your copy. If we start by looking at an example headline, it should be clear that whoever is reading your headline is in the right place. Anyone who's not an ideal fit should feel alienated by that headline. So, for example, a non-specific headline could look like this: how to get a ton of subscribers on your social media channels ASAP. Whereas a specific headline could look like this: how I grew our Instagram following by 7,813 in 3 days, and how you can too. Notice how in the second example, I named the social media channel, the number of new subscribers, and give a time frame for that. While in the first example, it's all completely vague. That's what you want to aspire to throughout all of your marketing copy. Specificity like this helps people see exactly what they're getting, what benefits they'll get out of reading or buying from you, and it helps weed out people who aren't interested or aren't a perfect fit. Some easy swaps could be as follows: vague numbers like a few, some, or loads versus a specific number. Things like sipping a drink versus sipping a pumpkin spiced latte, or watching TV versus binging the latest series of RuPaul's Drag Race. Notice how you feel hearing or seeing those examples. The more specific you are, the more it fires up your imagination, and the more real it feels, and the more tangible any outcomes feel as well to your reader. Try this in your next piece of copy and notice how it elevates the experience as a reader. If you want more tips for increasing your sales online, hit the subscribe button below. The next thing you need for copy that converts is pattern interrupts. There is so much going on in our world that it's hard to command attention, but attention is going to be your greatest asset in business and throughout your funnel. Without it, you won't be able to sell because you won't have anyone paying attention to what you're saying. So how do you do this? Well, one of my favorite ways is using pattern interrupts. Most people go about their day mindlessly scrolling, ignoring marketing messages, and tuning out because they see a lot of the same rubbish online and everywhere else. It's your job to shock them out of their zombie-like state and want to hear what you have to say. Learning how to do this is a valuable skill. Learning how to do it in your copy is even better. If someone is reading an email or sales page with a bunch of sales information, their eyes will glaze over unless you constantly make an effort to keep it highly relevant and interesting. Using cliches or obvious language is not going to help you maintain their attention. One way to create pattern interrupts is to use specificity, like I spoke about before, but you can also have some fun with this too. A really great way to introduce this idea is to start writing a cliche phrase that everyone uses and change one thing about it so that it's relevant to your message. Or you could use a joke but change the subjects and the punchline to be more on message. Or even tweak common movie quotes, chat outlines, or inspirational messages if it fits with your brand. For example, on my About Me page, I have a reference from the movie White Chicks, which is terrible, but I make it into a thing on my website so it adds some personality and it breaks up any salesy messaging. You can play around with this idea however you like, but the idea is to showcase things that make sense for your brand and your personality. Pattern interrupts can also be visual, so using formatting, GIFs, and images in the right places can do enough if you don't feel creative with your copy. The next thing you need for high converting copy is to use your customer's language. This is so key, I can't emphasize it enough, if you want to write copy that converts. You need to know how your customer describes things, from the problems they're experiencing to their idea of a dream outcome and everything in between. A good way to think about this is eliminating industry jargon and just using plain language. But I like to take things one step further and actually look for the exact words my ideal customers use to describe things, to refer to themselves, or even to talk about things that they have tried before. As an example, if you serve business owners and you call them out as entrepreneurs, but your audience actually think of themselves more as freelancers or CEOs, then they won't necessarily relate to what you're saying or even stay on the page if you call them out. Their initial reaction will be, oh, this isn't for me, so I'm going to look elsewhere. It's the same when you're describing their problems or anything else related to your offer. To uncover the right language to use, you need to use your detective skills a bit. I often find searching through communities online or forums like Reddit or even Amazon reviews for books that target my ideal customer help me to pin this language down. I pull together a simple spreadsheet which is split into different columns and copy and paste things I find interesting into columns that look like this. The first one is how they describe the problems that they're having. The second one is how they describe themselves. The third one is how they describe their desired outcome and any interesting language and phrases that they use. This should give you enough to write powerful sales copy. And look for repeated patterns and phrases and highlight them within your spreadsheet so you know to use that language on your page. Anything that you see coming up time and time again is likely going to relate to so many different people in your audience. You can literally swipe sentences word for word if it makes sense to do so, which is great because if you do this well, your customers basically write your copy for you and it converts better and saves you time. It's a massive win-win. The next thing you need to consider when writing high converting copy for your funnel is the rule of one. This is fundamental to the success of any copywriting, and it's all about clarity. To keep your copy clear, you should follow this rule. Each asset you write, whether it's a single social post, a single email, a sales page, or an ad, for example, should focus on these 4 things. One offer, one person, one promise, and one call to action. So let's break that down. One offer means only promoting one thing at a time, if that's possible. One person means target one specific audience, but know them so intimately that it's like you're talking directly to a single person, calling out that person's problems, desires, wants, needs, and interests. One promise means just don't overcomplicate things. Your offer promise should be compelling to keep it clean so people can see how your offer is able to help them. If you have more than one promise for your offer, like smaller tangible benefits, you can highlight these in separate emails. And then one call to action. Drive everyone who goes through your funnel to take the same action in every piece of copy. Instead of giving them several different links within that piece of copy, you want to keep them moving towards the one goal, which is likely to get them to buy from you. So again, you don't want them to get distracted. You can have more than one call to action in every email, for example, But in general, you want to keep the goal for all of them the same. So if you want people to book a call, you might have 3 calls to action in the same email, all driving people to book a call. As with any rule, there are exceptions, but if you're in a funnel or launch, I recommend following this so that you keep your audience on track through the buyer journey and don't distract them. Distractions are a surefire way to lose out on sales. If you found this helpful, you'll love my video on the 5 must-have tools to increase conversions, which I'm going to link below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more launch strategies that you can apply in your business. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.